What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting third overall, so should be pretty interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's see what happens here. The draft is officially underway. We're picking third overall, like I said. And I actually think this is probably one of the easiest spots to pick in. To me, third overall, you can pretty much go with whoever's left from the trio of, let's say, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, and then Justin Jefferson. If you want to include a pass catcher in that group. If not, you can sub in a Bijan, a Saquon Barkley, etc., those type of running backs. But either way, we're on the clock. The first two picks have been wide receivers, as has kind of been the norm with ESPN. And I said here, I'm going to go with whoever is left between Jefferson, Eckler, McCaffrey. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler here. I've done Christian McCaffrey plenty of times before, and, it's really, really close. If you want to have one guy as the 1A, the other as the 1B, absolutely zero problem with either or. But this version, we went with Eckler. Maybe in the next one, we'll go with Christian McCaffrey. So it is really splitting hairs. Basically, what we're saying is both these guys are tier 1 running backs, the highest of the high. So either one is going to be as long as they stay healthy, you're going to knock it out of the ballpark. But let's look at the pick history here, because obviously it was Jefferson, Jamar Chase, then we went with Austin Eckler. What we really care about here is what's going to happen in the remainder of the first round and then in the second round to see who is going to come back to us. So after Eckler, you see Travis Kelce was drafted, and I've said this plenty of times before, in smaller league sizes, getting a positional advantage at quarterback or tight end is a little bit more important. And tight end is a little bit higher on the list than quarterback, I would say, for sure. So getting Kelce, who is the number one guy at that position, makes sense because you're not going to be able to get him in the second round at that point in time. So it's one of those situations where maybe, on paper it's a little bit of a reach, but he's not going to be there. You're getting the positional advantage. More importantly, it's all about what you do in the second and third rounds onwards and how you build the team around Travis Kelce. Afterwards, we see Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey then. McCaffrey at the 6th spot is absolutely insane. Then Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb. I like to see Nick Chubb get some love. He's been a guy with an rising ADP as of late. Then Cooper Kupp going at the 9th overall pick, I think is a pretty good value. I have him right neck and neck with Justin Jefferson. Then you see Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor. His ADP is going to fluctuate a little bit, but I think it's going to end up stabilizing as an early second round selection. People worried about the potential holdout, but I think, both him and Josh Jacobs are going to get it figured out. So that's why Jonathan Taylor is kind of in that spot. Then Patrick Mahomes, that's a god-awful pick, but let me quickly make a selection here. And then I'm going to go on my high horse, or, whatever you want to call it. But here, we could go one of two ways. We can go with Tony Pollard, who I think would be a tremendous selection at the running back position. Then there's a little bit of a drop-off, or we can risk it. Maybe we can get a Josh Jacobs. So, you know what? I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's see how far Josh Jacobs really does fall. But let's go back to kind of our analysis here in the second round. I kind of cut off at the Patrick Mahomes, 3rd pick in the second round. That is not a selection I like one bit. That early in the second round, to me, that is way too early. No business selecting a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. So that's just my 2 cents on the situation. Now we're back on the clock here, and we could go one of two ways. We can go with Jalen Waddle. We could go with maybe a Chris Olave, who I really like at the running back position. We've already got Austin Eckler. I'm not saying we're gonna do a hero running back approach where we get a difference maker at the running back position and then kind of just not worry about it. But right now, I think the better value is wide receiver. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle. Chris Olave has been somebody that I absolutely love. But again, I try in these mock drafts to shed a little bit of light and love on some of these other wide receivers that I really like. I could very easily just, draft all of my favorite guys each and every round, but I don't think that would be too beneficial. I kind of want to, highlight a couple other names. So, Olave, Jalen Waddle was somebody else. Somebody like a Keenan Allen, I think is also pretty good value, but I want to continue to break this thing down. So looking at the second round, what kind of, what other weird things happened. Saquon Barkley in the middle of the second round. I don't understand how he went after Jonathan Taylor, considering the contract situation. Then Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Hurts. Again, I don't like that pick. Quarterback shouldn't be going in the second round. Amon-Ra, who we took, then Tony Pollard, A.J. Brown. So we could have gone Tony Pollard to pair with Eckler and then, gotten a Jalen Waddle or Olave as our number one wide receiver. That's also, a possibility we could have gone with. So that was kind of the diverging path here, I think, with this draft in particular. We decided to go pass catcher. So we're going to wait a little bit longer for our number two running back. Tony Pollard, A.J. Brown. In the third round, Garrett Wilson, Josh Jacobs. I was kind of hoping Josh Jacobs would fall to us. I mean, I'm not surprised that he's going in the third round, but, I think he should be going arguably neck and neck with Jonathan Taylor, even though, to me, I think he's going to have a fall off production-wise. I've kind of said that for a while now. To me, he's somebody that is primed to disappoint a little bit. But either way, I think he still plays the majority of the season. So if that's your main worry, I still think you get a good value on him. Then we went with Jalen Waddle, Joe Mixon afterwards, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, I'm not the biggest fan of. Devonta Smith, talk about a pick I don't like. Deebo Samuel in the third round. There's so many other guys I would rather have above him. I think you can make the argument you should take Brandon Ayuk ahead of him. Chris Olave, great pick there at the end of the third. And then Josh Allen at the end of the third. So, folks, what would you rather do? Would you rather select Josh Allen at the end of the third, or Patrick Mahomes with the third pick in the second round? That's why I always say, I will continue to say it in every mock draft breakdown, do not be the first person if you're dead set on selecting a tier one quarterback early on, despite the warnings that I give you every single video, every single breakdown, every single analysis. At least don't be the first one that selects one of those top tier quarterbacks, because more than likely, the last one, the third one, whether it's Mahomes, Allen, or Hurts, is going to go about a round later. So we're back on the clock here. We've got a couple of interesting choices here. I'm going to go probably with, the guy that I really like. I'm going to go with a Calvin Ridley here. I think he has some really nice high upside. Ramondre Stevenson is tempting, but we're right on the eve of the New England Patriots signing Ezekiel Elliott. So to me, that's a situation where, it definitely kind of makes me a little bit less excited about Ramondre Stevenson. I think you're going to see a situation where where Zeke vultures attempts touchdowns in the red zone. So definitely a little bit less excited about Ramondre Stevenson. He's still got some decent pass catching upside, but, somebody that I like a lot more in terms of value, things like that. I love Miles Sanders. He's ranked a little bit higher here than I expected, but I think Miles Sanders at this point in time, I've already got three really, really good wide receivers. Pairing him up with Austin Eckler, I think Miles Sanders is a very viable RB2. To me, that's I'm going to continue to take advantage of that ADP. I believe in him. I think that even if it's a young Carolina team, he can be kind of the Josh Jacobs 2.0 of this fantasy football year. But let's see what happened here in between our selections, kind of in the fourth round, right? So we saw Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, tremendous value in the fourth round. And Mike Evans, ETN, pretty good value there. Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs, even though I'm not the biggest fan, I think that's pretty good value. Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, and I should preface it with Jahmyr Gibbs. I really like the player. I just don't really like him short term right now immediately. If Montgomery wasn't there, it'd be a completely different conversation. If it was on a different team, it'd be a different conversation. If it was 2024, it'd be a different conversation. But right now, right out of the gate, I think we could see a running back by committee type of approach. So I'm not as high on Jahmyr Gibbs this year as some other people might be. Then Amari Cooper, we went with Calvin Ridley. Then you saw Andrews, Ramondre, Damian Pierce, Jerry Jeudy. We went with Miles Sanders. And then so far, the rest of this fifth round is as follows: Christian Watson, Rashad White, Lamar, Joe Burrow, TJ Hawkinson, and Alvin Kamara. Kamara's a really interesting guy. I kind of mention that every single time because, he's suspended, but the suspension is a lot shorter than we expected. Only 3 games as opposed to 6, which I felt like is what we were hearing a bunch before. But the Saints have also been rumored to, be hosting guys like a Kareem Hunt, which if they sign Kareem Hunt, I think he's a very similar type of player to Alvin Kamara. And that, I'm not going to lie, doesn't make me too excited for Kamara and his value in general. But so far, this 6th round, other players, Darren Waller, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Godwin, James Conner. I was really hoping James Conner would fall to us, get a third running back that I really liked. Doesn't quite happen. It's okay. I think we're officially in the point where we can consider a quarterback or a tight end, though, right? Because here we are looking at, let's look at the quarterback position, actually. So Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, those are the top 2 guys. Probably here I would go with, let me see if these guys have drafted a quarterback yet. No quarterback. One of them has a tight end. So I'm probably going to go with the quarterback here. And I could go with either Herbert or Trevor Lawrence unless, this person right in front of me snipes one of them. Running back, I was considering Alexander Mattison. He just got selected. So that choice got made. That choice became a lot easier for us. I've been out on Breece Hall for a long time. Also, again, not only are we on the eve of Ezekiel Elliott signing with the Patriots, we're on the eve of Dalvin Cook signing with the Jets. I'm completely avoiding that backfield. No, thank you. So here, we're going to select Justin Herbert. I prefer the stack of quarterback and running back to quarterback and wide receiver. That's what we get here with the Chargers. Herbert, Eckler, really like that for us. And then I'll probably go with one of the better remaining tight ends in the 7th round. Whoever it is, whether it's Kittle, whether it's Pitts, whatever the situation might be. Looking at wide receivers that are still left, I'm not going to lie to you, Marquise Brown is pretty tempting. He is. I'm a believer in Marquise Brown. Wouldn't mind adding some depth there, but I do know I'm probably going to miss out on the top-notch tight ends in Kittle, Pitts, Goddard. Dallas Goedert just went. So I think we pretty much have a guarantee that Kittle or Pitts is going to be there for us. And let's see, maybe Marquise Brown will be selected and the choice will be made for us. Trevor Lawrence just went. But I'm really on the fence. I can't quite decide between Marquise Brown and George Kittle. I'm looking at some of the other wide receivers that I like. I'm really tempted going Marquise Brown over George Kittle and then just kind of figuring out the tight end position afterwards. Let's see what happens here. Deshaun Watson just got selected. I mean, I do have decent depth at wide receiver with Amon-Ra, with Jalen Waddle, with Calvin Ridley. So if we're going best player overall here, you go Marquise Brown to me. If you're looking to address the position of need, you go tight end. I'll go with Kittle here. I think it's good value. Either one of those guys would have been good value. But if we maybe only had 2 wide receivers, I would have definitely gone Marquise Brown. But either way, I think we're in a good spot. So let's just continue to go a couple more rounds. We've gotten some people on auto pick, but it's still been a pretty accurate draft so far. Nothing too crazy. So I like what we're working with so far. We got Herbert, we got Eckler or Sanders, somebody that I'm high on. Amon-Ra, Jalen Waddle. I like our starting 2 wide receivers. We also got Calvin Ridley. We've got a difference maker, in my opinion, at the tight end position in George Kittle. Really like the chemistry he had with Brock Purdy last year. So it's a situation I like for us. Now, I'm curious how long some of these guys like Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker are going to last. Probably with auto pick, not too much longer, right? If I had to guess, there goes James Cook. He went ahead of Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, interestingly enough. If he's there, I think Michael Pittman becomes a pretty good value pick. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Looking at some other wide receivers, we officially have our first defense off the board. So, it's about that time where we, are going to be wrapping things up shortly. Brendan Ayuk is also a good value. He literally, as soon as I say that, goes. There goes Kenneth Walker. There goes Cam Akers. Tight ends that are still left. So we were right. Kyle Pitts was drafted. If we went Marquise Brown, we'd be looking at guys like Evan Ingram, David Njoku, a group of that ilk. So right now, other running backs that are still left, I don't love any of the names right now. I'm not going to lie to you. J.K. Dobbins is probably the highest upside guy still left, but I'm not the biggest fan of his in full PPR scoring. So maybe I get him in the next round. Right now, I get Michael Pittman. I like Samaje Perine, but feels like I can get him a little bit later on. So probably going to go that way. Yeah, Michael Pittman probably going to be a pick here unless we get sniped on him. If we do, that's perfectly fine. I like Jordan Addison as well, but no, we get lucky. Michael Pittman, we land him, and then I think I'm going to wrap this thing up with that selection of, as long as he's there, J.K. Dobbins. I think, right now in the 9th round, even if he flames out, I'm not all that heartbroken about it. So there you go. The starting roster is almost complete. We're going to add J.K. Dobbins to the bunch. And here it is. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, Amon-Ra, Jalen Waddle, George Kittle, Calvin Ridley, Pittman, and J.K. Dobbins. I don't have the highest hopes for J.K. Dobbins, but I know that, break glass in case of emergency, we can potentially use him. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thoughts on the squad, along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.